So look, let's talk about what is inaction, what is non-action. This concept comes from Wu-Wei, right? Inaction, it means doing nothing is sometimes the most effective form of action, right? Not doing something is the most effective form of action. But unfortunately, not doing something is the one thing that brings out insecurity, because emotions, intense emotions are meant to create motion. Pretty much emotions are there to get you to act, right? Those are chemical reactions to get you to eat. Fundamentally, it was meant to avoid pain and to gain pleasure, and to go towards pleasure, right? To go towards what promotes survival, and to run away towards what could kill us, right? So those emotions are literally meant for action. So the concept of non-action is pretty much about disciplining yourself and knowing when to act and when not to act. And it's much better to know when not to act more than when to act, pretty much itself, right? So this isn't about being lazy and giving up, but more about being more strategic. Because being strategic, it's not about being manipulative, but being strategic is all about opening up your options. So let's just say somebody pisses you off and you send that text message. Sending that text message out of emotions pretty much limits your options. But holding that text message and not doing something opens up your options and gives you more mobility, if that makes any sense. So it's all about letting your relationships be more effortless when it comes to this video, right? If there's effort, rather than doing something, if you feel resistance, the person's not changing, the person doesn't like you back, doing nothing sometimes is better than doing something. Why? Because it'll reveal a person's true intention. There's a quote that says, effortless relationships happen naturally, right? Never forcing things. If a relationship is meant to happen, it'll happen on its own, like the earth gives rise to life. So it's all about learning how to have an economy of motion and an economy of words. And you could only have that not through doing, but through learning when not to do, through learning how to prune or take away the fat. So when it comes to the area of relationships and finding someone, effortless effort is more important than effort itself, because seeing the effort behind your actions can be a turnoff. So so it's almost like, have you seen the movie Hitch, where the guy, where Will Smith creates a scenario where the guy rescues a puppy, right? And the woman sees him rescue the puppy, and she's like, "Oh my God, that's so cute, that's so awesome," and she ends up liking him. But if she saw that the rescuing of the puppy was orchestrated, that would have been a turnoff, right? So make your beauty, make your style, make your presence appear as effortless as possible, never revealing too much effort. So for example, if you're a woman, don't put on so much makeup that it looks like it's pasted on. That's a perfect example of that, right? So if you're a man, don't let your effort of looking attractive appear obvious from the outside in, because it actually communicates insecurity than the opposite. It's almost like when you see a guy or a girl putting on a personality, putting on the front, when in reality you can sense that they're not really like that, and it turns people off. So in love, effortless effort is important. Seeing the effort behind your actions can be a turnoff. Make your beauty seem effortless. Never reveal the effort. Never look too made up. Never appear too eager to please. Never appear to put too much effort in romanticism, right? Make it look natural and free-flowing. Make it look spontaneous, like a flower or a mariachi band. The best performers, for example, in basketball, when somebody looks good at basketball, they look effortless. But when somebody's playing bad, they look like they're forcing it. In fact, people in basketball will say, "Oh, this person appears like they're forcing the issue," as opposed to making it look effortless. Right? Because the effortlessness is more feminine. The effort looks more masculine. You want to have that feminine energy where it doesn't look like you're trying. That's why in basketball, when somebody's good at basketball, they usually use phrases that are feminine. He has a beautiful flow. Like even Muhammad Ali, sting like a butterfly. No, move like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The movement is like a butterfly because he looks effortless. Muhammad Ali looked like when he was punching, it looked effortless. It didn't look like he was trying. And as a result, it looked beautiful because it looked effortless, even though he's putting effort. So when you meet people, forceful smiles and overt effort to impress people turns them off. It's like when a guy's trying to impress a woman, he talks about his cars. It looks too fucking effortful. So it turns people off, as opposed to the woman after a few days seeing that he has a beautiful car. It looks effortless, it doesn't look try hard, and as a result, she falls for the guy. It's almost like when dudes try to impress a girl, right? Qualify yourself to her. When you literally try to say things about you to impress her, right? Those types of things comes across as try hard. And when you overtly try to sound interesting, try to list out all of your accomplishments in an obvious way, that type of stuff comes across as try hard. And women are just repelled by that because it just reflects insecurity. Which means if you're talking to a girl and the conversation is not going nowhere, trying harder does not make it better. If she's not responding to you, talking all the time, and making it a one-way conversation, is not going to make it better. Right? Sometimes just being quiet and allowing the conversation to end is better. Because you have three types of reactions to people. You either give them a positive reaction, negative reaction, or indifferent. We want to avoid the negative reaction. It's much better for her to feel indifferent about you than for her to think negatively about you. Because from indifference, you could go to positive. But if you give them a bad first impression because you're trying hard, it's very hard to come back from that. Right? Or a woman who looks hot, but it shows the heavies, shows her legs, is too revealing. It looks too effortful, and it looks like a turnoff. But if a woman shows off her body, but in an effortless fashion, without looking like she's trying, it looks more attractive. It's like I meet people. And there's this one person that I met that when she was talking, you could tell she was like, oh, really? Oh, wow. Oh, my God. Oh, really? Oh, really? And when I met her at first, I was like, oh, my God, what a turnoff. You could sense the fakeness. It's like an actor who looks like they're acting, as opposed to an actor who looks like they're not acting. But then after a few weeks, this same girl relaxed, and all of a sudden when she talked to me, her face looked more relaxed, her voice looked more relaxed, and she actually became more attractive to me. Why? Because she wasn't trying, and it is true, she wasn't trying from the inside. And it also looked like she's trying to manipulate, or she's trying to get attention. And one of the things about people is that when they notice you're trying hard to get attention, they won't give it to you. People only give attention and praise to those who look like they're not trying to get it. Before we continue, we're going to take a quick commercial break. And don't forget, hit the like button and subscribe. All right, guys, we're going to have a brief intermission so that I could tell you guys about our new bundle that we're doing, where you guys can purchase all of my courses and get it at a discount. So this bundle is pretty much the bundle where you could just buy all of my courses. You could buy Nice Guy, which is a training course on how to come across more assertive, how to come across more confident, how to not give off nice guy vibes. You guys can get access to Dark Game, which is my full dating course on how to meet women in different scenarios, how to attract women, how to make sure you don't come across as creepy, and essentially how to act like a man and not act like a doofus, to be quite honest with you. And you get all of these bonuses, which is the bonuses of Dark Game, the bonuses of Practical Mastery, which is about how to master a skill, Social Mastery, which is how to master your social life, and the Laws of Human Nature, which is a book club videos that I had dissecting Robert Greene's book. All of this is naturally at around naturally is at $346, but you guys can purchase this bundle and get it at what's the price again? Get it at $238 pretty much. So you guys can purchase it right now. It's a money back 30-day money back guarantee. It's a good way to, rather than just buying them individually and paying extra, you guys can just purchase everything at a discount price. Now, the only thing I don't like is the fact that I'm giving you a lot of information at the same time. That makes me kind of scared, because a lot of times people don't do the things that I teach when you get too much information. But I've gotten too many requests to do this, so I'm just satisfying you guys. Purchase it right now by clicking on the description down below where it says purchase the bundle. All right, let's continue with the video. Heck, inaction will help you prevent getting manipulated. Because the way people manipulate you is not by them taking action first, it's by people baiting you to take action. And when they bait you to take action, they bait you by finding what triggers you and finding what makes you feel insecure so that you could take that action. It's like a trap, right? They lay a trap, a honey trap, like the way that some Colombian women, when I got mugged, right? They make you take action. They make you make the first move by promising you something, promising you a promise that you like, right? And then by you taking that first step, it puts you in the position of chasing. Right? And the way they do that is just by making you feel insecure, right? They don't text you back, they don't call you back, they take a long time to text and stuff like that. Those are or they tell you things from your past. They'll tell, or even like people who try to bait celebrities to fight them, to punch them, right? They try to get them to take action, to hit them, so that then they can sue them, right? There's so much power in not letting people force you into action. And when you learn to self-constrain yourself, you pretty much gain the most powerful weapon, which is control over yourself. Instagram thoughts, right? The smart ones bait the NBA players to hit them up first. The dumb ones hit up the NBA players first, because and by them doing that, they lose all leverage. But if you're a smart thought, you post the right photos, you get the right plastic surgeries, you see the type of girls those NBA players like, and you just post those photos and wait like a spider waiting for the prey to come in its web, right? That is the way that predators, the real predators, wait. Like an alligator. An alligator crocodiles have used the same strategy for millions of years. And that strategy is just to sit and wait and not move. And let the gazelle or whatever animal move into that trap. And once they're close enough, then they take swift and strong action. But before that, they don't move. They're still. And then they just look and wait. And the animal and the alligator and crocodile that has the most patience and that sits still the most is the one that's going to end up eating at the end of the day. Even Michelangelo said that if people see how much effort I put into my art, you wouldn't think I'm that impressive, right? And that is very true. When people don't see when you put a lot of work but you don't show it on the outside, you look like you came from heaven. You look like you have an ability that's beyond humanity. You look more divine, and people will follow you more, and people will be more attracted to you. So when it comes to dating, when you don't know what to do, when you're uncertain about what to do, sometimes doing nothing is better than doing something. Because when someone isn't responding to you, let's just say they don't respond to your efforts to attract them, or they don't respond to a text, or somebody makes you mad, doing nothing sometimes is way better. Because when they're resisting you, when somebody resists you, trying more to convince them actually makes them more defensive. It's just how it works. You guys wonder where Father Alex is? I'm at a meditation retreat, so that you guys can see. It's a 5-day meditation retreat. Anyways, let's keep going. So inaction, in this case also, is when your emotions get triggered. When somebody triggers a projection mechanism, when somebody triggers your darkness, your dark side, when somebody makes you feel insecure, 100% of the time, the best thing to do is to do nothing. Why? Because certain insecure emotions trigger an unconscious behavior that you're not even aware of. When somebody rejects you, a lot of the time, we have a certain way of behaving that's consistent. We just don't notice. It's like when we could see somebody's pattern, but we don't. For example, I had a roommate named Amina. She always noticed that when I went on a date, I always wore a white shirt. She was able to notice patterns about me that I couldn't tell. There are patterns about you that you're completely not aware of. But if you actually don't take action, all of a sudden those patterns become more evident, because your body will start telling you, do that, do that, do that, do that. And you start noticing, oh my God, when I feel insecure, I actually do this. And by you not taking action, you can actually find your weaknesses by just you not doing nothing. Or let's just say people don't like you. And you don't understand why people don't like you. Sometimes reducing your personality to a gray can help you see what you're doing wrong. So for example, it's almost like, if you don't know why people don't like you and you talk a lot, don't talk. and then slowly up it up, and slowly start talking, slowly start upping up the volume in terms of like metaphorically speaking, and see whether or not you're more likable at this rate of talking versus this rate and this rate. Or better yet, a better example, it's like when people have bad stomach issues, a doctor will completely say eat bland food. That's a form of inaction. Stop eating the bad food. Stop eating a bunch of food. And then slowly start introducing and seeing which food triggers the acid reflux or whatever. But the point is, that's a form of non-action, which will allow you to reveal what's wrong. Inaction means standing back and observing people. So when you're going into a new situation, a new job, or you're meeting someone, or even better yet, a new job or a new situation, sometimes not imposing your personality, or even bosses, right? New bosses, new managers, sometimes not imposing what you want is way better than instantly imposing your desires, because it'll create resistance. Stand back and see the culture. Stand back and observe the hidden rules of that culture. Stand back and observe the unwritten rules, which is more important than the written rules. Right? Benjamin Franklin one time was working at a press in England, I think so. And when, well, let me say, when he went there, they had a thing where they would put money for beer. And Benjamin Franklin believed in not drinking beer, so he wouldn't put money. And then as a result, in the printing press, there were all of a sudden mistakes started showing up in the printing press. Why? Because they resented the fact that he wasn't contributing to the beer fund. He imposed his belief on the people rather than standing back and observing what is the culture. And as a result, people underperformed intentionally to sabotage him. But then he realized the mistake, started putting money in, and all of a sudden those mistakes disappeared. But if he just stood back and observed and didn't impose his will initially, he would have observed that. It's almost like a stepdad who comes into a house. He superimposes his desire, superimposes his rules, starts punishing the kid before even knowing the kid, and all of a sudden you create walls you can never put down. Sometimes leaning back and observing the motherfucker allows you to be more influential, not taking action. It's almost like somebody punches me. If a woman punches me, sometimes not hitting her back is the best thing to do. Why? Because inaction opens up your ability. That's a hard. It's just crazy. He does that. I'm kidding. I don't do that shit, people. Come down, Melissa. And I think Melissa's a feminist. Inaction means standing back and observing people, not asking people to change. So if you meet someone and they're your partner and they're drug addicts and they're this or that and you don't like that, sometimes saying that you don't like it and then taking a step back and observing whether or not they change is the best thing to do, rather than being overbearing and trying to change them. It takes more effort to change people than to let people be and find somebody who's ready. Don't try to change people. You're not Dr. Phil, you're not Bob the Builder. Let people be and find somebody else. Because if they really like you, your inaction is going to cause them to take action, to change, so that you could take action to be with them again. Inaction says more than actions. Actions speak louder than words, and actions are silent. Words are loud. Inaction means not trying to change how you feel as well. So when you're meditating and you're feeling any kind of depression, any agitation, trying to resist the emotion will only create more of it. Because resistance usually comes with thoughts. Resistance usually comes with you saying, I don't like it. But if you observe the emotion, just looking at it, like you're looking at it by feeling it. For example, feel what you feel. Whatever you feel, try to feel it more. That's looking. For that 1 second, you were observing and not judging. Stay there. Keep looking at that emotion. Don't try to change it. If you want to learn more about that, pre-order my course, Emotional Mastery. It should be out by the start of June. But just observe that emotion. Don't push it away. Bring it closer to you. By you trying to influence it through drugs or through validation from people or through eating, overeating, you will start resisting it. But those emotions, by you doing nothing and sitting down, if you just sit down and do nothing and just look, all of a sudden that emotion will become transmuted into peace. That's how the Buddha became enlightened. Inaction means removing yourself from the situation and being alone. If you don't know whether or not somebody likes you, sometimes just pulling away and doing nothing will reveal to you if they like you. If you're being influenced in a negative fashion from a social group, or you feel like people don't like you, sometimes taking a step back from that group, a week or two, or even a weekend, sometimes it'll help you see and take the fog of emotion, the fog of the social influence, and you can see the group from a different perspective. It's like people who are in cults. They don't know they're in a cult until they leave, and then they realize through contrast that they were in a cult. Taking a step back from the group allows you to see things more better. Being alone allows you to know yourself more. Taking a step back allows you to see things from a different perspective. Inaction also means waiting rather than acting. So if you want a relationship with someone, sometimes waiting is more important. Waiting to get to know them rather than assuming you already know them. Sometimes if somebody doesn't text you back, waiting is the most important thing rather than double texting. People who double text, people who are desperate, are people who have no concept or have no ability to have an action because those emotions are so intense, they haven't mastered their emotions, so that the emotion is the one that controls them. The emotion becomes a parasite. It feeds off of you, feeds off of your energy, and it self-sabotages you. Inaction means taking your time before deciding on the person. And also, even in negotiation, the one who responds first loses. The one who blinks first loses. Inaction means learning to be still as a coping mechanism when stressed and insecure. So if you're stressed, somebody's stressing you out, a girl or guy is making you feel insecure because they're not texting you back, sometimes just sitting still and observing and breathing is the best form of action. Sometimes the hardest form of action is doing nothing because we're so used to doing something. Doing something gives us the feeling of control. For example, it's almost like when I'm in traffic, right? And the traffic is not moving, but then I see a bicycle moving. I'm like, fuck. I wish I could just get out the car and bike home because I'm not moving. But then 20 minutes later, it starts moving, the traffic relieves, and all of a sudden I start moving. And then that bike that looked like they were moving fast, so all of a sudden I passed that bike, right? Sometimes just standing where you are, not doing nothing, don't let the fact that people look like they're progressing fool you. Sometimes you are on the right path, and sometimes you just have to wait. Sometimes things take time, and then once that moment comes, things accelerate. Because the more you act out of compulsion, the more unnecessary action you do. Now, what is unnecessary action? Unnecessary action is just things that makes things harder. You know, for example, talking too loud. You could talk, but you're talking too loud. Talking too much, you could talk, but you're talking too much. Moving too much, fidgeting, you could move, but you're moving too much, right? Going from relationship to relationship, you could be in a relationship, but sometimes taking your time in between relationships is important. Responding fast, sometimes taking your time is the best type of response. Doing less and saying less. This concept will train your discipline. This concept will train your mind. This concept will show you how much control you really have over yourself. Because if you cannot do this, that just means you need to train more. And the way to do that is just to do the most obvious thing, is to literally be still. Meditate. Increase your meditation practice. For example, in my course, Emotional Mastery, I'm going to talk about how to increase your meditation practice. But in our school, we have a thing where we draw for 8 hours a day. But the way we do it is that we don't just draw for 8 hours straight. We do 20-minute intervals. So 20 minutes, we draw, 5-minute break for 4 hours, and then we take a 1 hour break, right? So with meditation, this is what I do. Whenever I want to do 3 or 4 hours of meditation in a day, I'll pick a day, right? Where for the next 5 hours, I'm going to be meditating. So I'll meditate in lotus position, and then when I get frustrated and tired, I'll meditate with my head facing up. And then I'll meditate standing up. And then I'll meditate walking. And then I'll just look at something, look outside and breathe. And then I'll try to meditate again. And then maybe if I'm too tired, I'll look at a video for 5 minutes and then go back to meditate for 5 minutes. But the point is that I'll have as many breaks as I could, but for those 4 hours, I'm trying my best. I used to do that with prayer. When I was younger, I used to be a Christian, and I used to do like whole day fast where I would be praying the whole day. But I wasn't praying the whole day. I pray for 10 minutes, 30, 40 minutes. And when I'm tired, I'll read the Bible or look up or listen to some Bible-related video, right? Or I'll walk and think about God. And then once I'm done walking, then I'll go back and read, then pray, and then read again. And then once I'm done, then I'll just go and do something else, right? But the point is that you're for those 4 hours, you're putting in effort. You're putting in effort. Even in weightlifting, you don't do 20 sets in one time. You do one set, then you take a break. Another set, and then you take a break. And by you doing that, you could increase your capacity to be still for longer periods of time, and that will translate in your dating life, where you'll learn to be more relaxed around people. Your nonverbal cues will become more relaxed. Your face will become more relaxed. Your voice will become more relaxed. You won't talk like this all the time. You won't have those unconscious signs of neediness leaking out by learning to do less people. Anyways, I hope this video made sense. It's actually one of my favorite videos. It's a concept that if you guys apply this, it doesn't just apply to relationships, it applies to everything in your life, all right? And if you guys ever want to work with me one-on-one on how to apply this, I have a few coaching options. I have a coach in the pocket where you guys have access to me 24/7. It's actually, the price is $2,500, but for a whole month, if you're seeing someone or you're going through something and you feel like you need guidance, you can have access to me 24/7 where you ask me the question and I respond in the form of an audio on WhatsApp. It's coach in the pocket. You have me in your pocket. Imagine that I'm with you 24/7. That's a perfect type of coaching for people who are seeing someone consistently and need constant coaching. All right. Or you guys could get a package where you guys could get 3 coaching calls at a discounted rate. You can click on the description down below to check all of the coaching options. And if you guys ever want to attend my seminars, click on the description down below. You guys can attend online if you guys can't go to London.